Let's go back to Limpopo now, where the funeral proceedings for former Finance Minister and former Reserve Bank Governor Tito Mboweni will be laid to rest today. Iman Rapeti joins us now from Our Lady of Mount Carmel Catholic Church, where the family is attending a private mass. Iman, just a few moments ago, you were articulating how the former governor's son gave just a very moving speech about his relationship with his father. Who else has spoken today?
Well, his niece, Tito Mboweni, has also paid tribute to her uncle, speaking about how fiercely he defended family, how fiercely he was about the family unit, and not those who were just in his immediate circle, but those who were part of the extended family. And we're also hearing a number of tributes from members in the community whom he really treated like family, who he supported, and a lot of stories of mentorship. It is a packed church here at the Lady of Mount Carmel Catholic Church as this Requiem Mass is now in full swing, and it gives you a different perspective on the way that the South African public remembers Tito Mboweni in both those roles as a finance minister and as central bank governor, a position that he occupied between 1999 and 29. Anyway, he served a long period. My memory fades now on exactly the years, but he served in office for quite a lengthy period of time as central bank governor. But a lot of his economic chops were developed outside of South Africa during the time of his exile, and it was there as well that he became a really integral part of the ANC in the developing and the honing of their economic policy. And to reflect on those years and also on the seminal role that he played in South Africa's economy and economic life, the strategic decisions that he made in those two roles as central bank governor and finance minister on the South African economy is Mahlengi Bhengu-Motsiri, who is the who is the ANC's national spokesperson, and she joins me now. Good morning. I think these earphones are having a little bit of an effect on me this morning. Mahlengi, talk to us about something that the ANC said this week in marking his passing, that he was a tough opponent behind, in the back rooms where you're hammering out and you're tooling your economic policy. Give us a sense of the directness and how he would engage in those conversations and what must have been very fierce debates.
Without a doubt, very robust, very rigorous in thinking, but also very robust in debating. I know the joke goes there would be these left-wing oriented members of the ANC who, when there would be a commission that's looking at the economy, they'll be targeting Tito to say, well, we're going there to just go and challenge his way of thinking about how we need to grow the economy and a set of macroeconomic policies we need to have for the country. And he never shied away from a debate. He raised a lot of sharp questions within the ANC, but he also raised some of those sharp questions when he retired and when he was free. He was a free man to really look into South Africa from the vantage position of retirement.
What were some of those things and those criticisms that he shared with you, things and points of disagreements that he might have had?
Well, the one somebody was just using the example of the State Bank or the nationalization of the Reserve Bank. I mean, everybody knew where he stood in relation to those issues. And those were very fierce debates in various conferences, as well as, of course, in his role in this part of the Department on Economic Policy Planning, which he helped shape very strongly together with Trevor Manuel and many others.
And speaking of Trevor Manuel, we talked about it as the triumvirate of the TM era, which was under Thabo Mbeki's presidency, Trevor Manuel and Tito Mboweni playing that really influential role together in shaping South Africa's economic trajectory. When you think about how South Africans, or things that South Africans should know about Tito Mboweni that they might not know, Mahlengi, what comes to mind?
Well, I would imagine that because he was thrust into the role of a finance minister and had to take some tough decisions around the macroeconomic policy trajectory, less is remembered about his role as a former unionist himself, his role as somebody that was very central in the architecture of the labor market as we know it in South Africa. His role in terms of shepherding the introduction of things such as the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. I mean, if you look at the provisions of that legislation, really democratizing the workplace and really, offering lots of rights deservedly to workers. And so on. You could talk about the Labor Relations Act, you could talk about Employment Equity Act, all of those things that he oversaw. And the steadfastness with which he defended workers in terms of the rights that they needed. And the steadfastness with which he was able to bring people around the table whilst he holds his views, and sometimes of course he'll be rigid with his views. But I thought that it was an important thing to remark about the work that he did as the Minister of Labour, because we just tend to focus more on what he did in the finance. Look at what he did in relation to spurring NEDLEC on to get social partners to do effective compacting. Even today in South Africa, we're talking about the need to increase social compacts. That's the work, the groundwork was done by people such as Tito Mboweni, the late Shepherd Mdladlana, and countless others. And so he had a very strong contribution in getting South Africa to talk and to find common solutions.
Mahlengi, thank you for those reflections. I know that the church is now quietening down, and it seems as if we're heading towards the end of what has been a small, intimate and private ceremony here at the Our Lady of Mount Carmel Catholic Church. And we'll continue to hear reflections from his colleagues, reflections from his family. And once the service here ends, that's when it makes I think it's around 60 kilometers, makes that journey between here at Hudsonburg to the Nkua Stadium. And that's where the rest of our reporting team will pick up the story.
Thank you very much, our Newzroom Africa anchor reporting live, of course, coming to us from Limpopo, where the funeral of the late and the great Dr. Tito Mboweni is currently underway.